What's poppin', y'all? One of the most surprising takes I've seen thus far this year, we're only a month in, is from Vlad about someone telling. And in this case, it's A$AP Relli and A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky's currently on trial for shooting at his former friend and A$AP member, A$AP Relli. And the guy apparently got grazed in the hand, but Vlad decided to be vocal, and in two separate tweets. The initial one, he said, A$AP Telly. And then in the second one, he would go on to tweet, A$AP Telly is taking the stand against A$AP Rocky because he's going to file a civil lawsuit against Rocky after the trial is over. If Rocky is convicted of the shooting or takes a plea deal that includes shooting at Telly, Telly will automatically win the civil suit. That's because the burden of proof for a criminal case is higher than a civil case. Considering Rocky's net worth and income streams, that civil suit is easily worth millions. And I replied to this, I said, and if he got shot at by someone he thought was his friend, he deserves to be compensated. And this is very odd coming from Vlad, of all people. Because number one, Vlad was on Tory Lanez head top for that case and didn't go in on Meg at all for telling. And sure, she's a woman, but you're saying it's okay for a woman to tell, but a man can't tell? How does that add up? And on top of that, A$AP really ain't never pretend to be no gangster. No members of A$AP pretend to be any gangsters. Maybe like Rocky is the only one that's really done time like that. I mean, when he was a juvenile, I don't know about after that. But Ferg, like, this guy's not a gangster. Do I think Ferg would sit and tell for a situation like this? No. So that's the first weird part, because there's already a behavior prior to this in a case that's rather similar about a shooting. People don't really know if someone got shot, like bullet casings. This case is very, very weird, but it's quite similar to the situation with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. So that's why I think it's weird, first of all. Second of all, if you guys remember the line and the infamous beef between Rick Ross and Vlad, Rick Ross rapped, "A punch in the face get you 300K, ask Vlad." Now he back to making minimum wage, because back in 2008, at the Ozone Awards, Vlad ran into Rick Ross. Rick Ross was not too happy with something Vlad published, and his goons put the beat down on DJVlad. DJVlad would file a civil lawsuit, and federal jury found Ross responsible for orchestrating the beatdown, and he would get rewarded about $300,000, a sum of 300K, which is back in 2010. So that 300K was a significant amount of money for Vlad at the time, and for sure contributed to him being able to scale up Vlad TV. And what he said, as an individual that covers breaking news in the hip-hop world, I'm grateful that the jury punished Rick Ross for setting me up, when all I was doing was covering the news and making commentary. There's no place in civilized society for members of the media to have to fear retribution for their news coverage and commentary. So initially, he filed a $4 million lawsuit against Rick Ross, claiming that he ordered his crew to beat him up after he published a story that outed Ross as a former correctional officer. So Vlad, he doesn't know Rick Ross. Rick Ross puts hands on him. He files the civil suit. Relli, on the other hand, is close friends with Rocky. Like, these guys were a crew. He said he knew him since they were teenagers. So this is 13 years later. This is your man's, and he's shooting at you. That's betrayal right there. I think that's more painful and difficult to size up than some random dude beating you up. For you publishing something that was really, really detrimental to his career, like the fact that Rick Ross was able to overcome that is a testament to how amazing the guy's music is. Like, Rick Ross, incredible rapper. Can't say that enough. So I just don't get it. What I want to understand, because Vlad is not really that unreasonable. He usually has some sort of logic before he comes to the conclusion that he comes to. So I'm just wondering what the logic is here. Because if A$AP Relli got shot at, I'm sure if Rocky reached out to Relli and was like, hey man, here's a sum of money that I think you'd be happy with, would Relli be down to patch it up or just go on his own merry way? I think so. Or maybe he just felt like, no, he needed justice. So Rocky was probably moving cocky and said, nah, I ain't paying you a damn thing. And we don't know what happened between these guys to cause this rift. So if he's going to put him in jail, because Rocky's cocky because he didn't even take the plea deal. He wasn't trying to do no 6 months. And then Relli's on the stand, pointing it out, telling the story. Some people saying the story doesn't add up. This case is just the most bizarre thing. I just want the outcome. So if he loses the case and he has to pay A$AP Relli money, A$AP Relli files a civil case. Yeah, he's owed some money for the distress and the emotional burden of being betrayed, if we are to take his story, by his closest friends. And Vlad didn't have no gun aimed at him. Not that I know of. So you're seeing your life flash before your eyes. People are saying like, yeah, he got grazed at the end of it. Sure. But the guy's seeing his life flash before his eyes. His man's allegedly got the hammer, or the starter pistol they want to call it, pointed straight at him. It's like, what the hell? And then your other homies, your other ASAP members are there watching, or I don't know if they're trying to stop what's going on, but they're silent. They're quiet as a mouse because they're probably doing decent. I remember 12U was doing okay a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So this situation, I really feel for ASAP Relli. And the tough part is I like ASAP Rocky. That's the problem. I mess with ASAP Rocky heavy. Like you guys know, ASAP Rocky is probably my top 10 favorite rappers in terms of just music, overall, artists. I don't know the guy personally. Don't really care for him personally either. He seems like a chill guy. But I will say, people are trying to paint Rocky as like, nah, he's the fashion guy. He's not that violent. Nah, Rocky's always talking about squabbling, throwing hands. You guys remember when he just jumped out off the Fader Fort? I think it was Fader Fort. Just started fighting in the middle of the place. In Sweden, I think it was. Some people were messing with him. He started throwing hands with them. He was arrested there. And then I think Trump made some calls to help get him out. Get home ASAP. That was funny. So, and there are probably some other incidents. Those are the only incidents we've heard about. So Rocky gets busy. He's quick to a temper. That doesn't mean he's not a likable guy. I don't know what he's like personally. So there is a history there that is similar to Tory Lanez history, because Tory Lanez would pop off and get busy. Like we saw him applying pressure. By the way, the video's damn near done. So if you're waiting for any other information, you can just dip out right now. I'm probably going to just yap on this tangent for a little bit more. But we see Tory Lanez applying pressure on Travis Scott, trying to throw hands, whatever the hell the case may be. Then we saw Tory Lanez drive down and run down on this story is still so funny because I have the visual in my head. Run down on Dax, telling him to apologize because Tory Lanez, I think he was rapping back and forth with Joyner Lucas and they were doing like a fun beef. I think this was in 2016 when Drake and Pusha T were beefing. And then they just want to do a fun rap beef. So they're going at each other. Tory's talking about, I'm the best rapper. I can go at anybody. Dax decides to drop a track. Obviously, Dax isn't talking any gangster stuff. And then Tory Lanez pulls up on the guy. Dax says he has a blick pointed at him, and he's filming him to make him apologize. And then he goes on No Jumper and does an interview about it after. That's Dax we're talking about here. And there are some other incidences with Tory Lanez. So they're both hot-headed in this manner. And these are the only situations we've heard about. So... oh, man, Tory's funny. So, yeah, I just don't understand Vlad's line of thinking here. A lot of people are saying, yo, if Rocky's moving like this, he's got to chill out. Or he's got to sit down and do some time. But the thing is, it's like, yo, 10 years, 5, 10, 15 years? That's crazy time for Rocky to do. 24 years, he's not going to do that. He doesn't have that many priors. But I just, for some reason, and stamp this, I have this gut feeling that ASAP Rocky is going to beat the case. I don't know why. It's not that I favor ASAP Rocky. It's just there are certain people that I feel like just don't go to jail. Like, for example, Polo G got caught with a gun in New York. Is he in jail? No. Sheck West got caught with a gun in New York. Is he in jail? No. There's a lot of instances where I'm like, this person's not going to jail. And they don't end up going to jail. And I have that gut feeling again now. Now, if I'm wrong, by all means, go ahead. There is no logic behind this guess or assumption that I'm making here. But I feel that way nonetheless. I just feel like he's going to beat this case. I don't know why. Maybe his overconfidence and not taking that plea deal got me thinking, oh, okay, because it's like the inverse of Tory Lanez. Everybody thought Tory Lanez was beating that case. I'm not going to lie. Like, I won't put that information out there. But, yeah, I could have swore because just the level of confidence. You're like, yo, Tory's going to beat this case, right? And then he loses, like, whoa. So everyone seems to think that Rocky's cooked, and that's not the reason why I feel that way, but I just feel that way. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Vlad tripping here? Do you agree with Vlad? Do you think Vlad is allowed to give this take considering his background? And we also have to take into account Relli's background. Let me know. Now, I don't want to hear from you gangsters, all right? If you are a gangster, sit down, sit this one out. Because you're going to be like, man, nah, I would handle that. We're trying to hear from civilians. This is civilian only. Yes, this is discrimination. Hey, it is what it is. I'm usually very open in the comments of every other video, but you're going to have to sit this one out. Civilians only answering this question. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.